Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning and the 4th of December. Welcome to today's latest crypto news. Now, where else could we start than Bitcoin? It has been one hell of a 24 hours for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the entire crypto market. So let's get straight into today's latest and greatest crypto news. And you know what? Let's kick it off. Bitcoin has topped over 41k overnight. This is actually the first time in over 18 months and of course the year high for the price of Bitcoin. Now it's worth noting that over $150 million worth of short positions got liquidated in the last 24 hours. Now we're going to come on to some of the data and some of the numbers and the ranges and what this means for the way that we've been trading in the last few days. But just look at that chart above my head and tell me that that isn't one hell of a positive sign. But there's one thing that a lot of people aren't looking at right now, in my opinion, and that is the price of gold. Gold has also hit record highs. Now, this is notable because Bitcoin has also not hit record highs just yet, but has made substantial movement in the last 48 hours. And we can't lose track of other markets when we're trading. Now, why you'll say that? Because certain commodities are backed against different things. Now, this rally comes ahead of the market betting ahead of the US Fed cuts potentially coming very, very, very soon. But let's break this down and let's go straight into the price of Bitcoin right now. We're going to do this video slightly different. The price at the time of making this video is $41,516. As you can tell, we not only aggressively entered this upper range, we're looking as though we may challenge the top. Now, a reminder, the top of that range is $42,400, and the bottom of this range is $39,400. Current price shows and suggests we may see some challenge towards that. But is a sell-off coming pretty soon? When we look at this and we look at the changes in volumes at the bottom of my screen here where I'm highlighting, you would say that we are in store for an interesting day to say the least. Well, how does that work with Ethereum? When we look at Ethereum, we also saw this aggressive entry into the upper range. Now that range is $2,175 all the way up to $2,340, and the current price is $2,253. Now, it's very interesting, and this is very interesting to say the least, because we haven't had a red 4-hour candle form on the Ethereum chart, but we have with Bitcoin. What does this suggest and what does this show? Frankly, it shows there's much more room, in my opinion, for Ethereum to grow in the next 48 hours, but it also shows the magnitude of volume coming into Bitcoin. Now, within Bitcoin, we always know that it's hugely volatile. We are expecting, or I am personally expecting, an ETF approval in the next 7 to 10 days. And if it comes this week, you will see a mammoth reaction. So, this story to me is absolutely huge. We could see the next key level above this. I'm even going to tell you now, it's around $45,000. So let us see what the next 48 hours have got in store. There's a huge amount of liquidations happening for shorts right now. When is that pressure going to end? Now let's move on to the next story. Brian Armstrong's Coinbase is not planning to launch a native token for the Base network. Now, according to Decrypt, Brian Armstrong, who of course is the CEO of Coinbase, has confirmed that the cryptocurrency exchange has no plans for its token to create its own tokenized asset. I mean, for me, it's very interesting. When we've seen the SEC attack exchanges and projects, it has been for having a native token. Now, is this an attempt by Coinbase to avoid any potential regulatory issues in the future? You would suggest maybe so. Or is it, frankly, there's just no user case for it within its ecosystem based on its layer 2 systems? Well, I think the best thing to do is, when in doubt, just don't do anything. And I think that is the stance that Coinbase have taken. On the topic of exchanges, BitGet have just released its November's 2023 protection fund valuation. Now, notably, this is interesting news, and for investors and traders, it's great news. It's all-time highs when it comes to its protection funds at 401 million average in the month of November, which is absolutely significant. I believe that's now the second ever protection fund within the crypto space. And congratulations to the team over at BitGet. This is why I constantly use them, and this is why I work with them very closely. Now, XRP must close above 63 cent was the article that we were about to read, and we did. It absolutely did. If you see XRP right now, there are not many more bullish charts, in my opinion. The next step up could be around this mark right here, the 65 cent. And are we going to test 65 cent in the next 24, 48 hours? Because if we do, it's another big step up to around 68 cent. For me, I think that there's a huge potential for some big movement in XRP in the next days. Not financial advice, of course, but I see something very big about to happen. The final story I really wanted to cover before we do look at some of the other figures is coming from CZ. Now, we know he's had one hell of a week when it comes to stories and press around him, his actions, his past. Now we're starting to see the PR campaign. The PR campaign has come out, I quit my job, sold my house for Bitcoin, and this is my story. Very often, when there's a lot of negative news around an individual, they will counteract it with ultra positive stories. Now, we're going to be shown so many positives around CZ before the court case happens in America. And when that does happen, I'd imagine it's going to become very interesting. Now, my personal opinion is that CZ is not a bad guy whatsoever. He's a thought leader within the crypto space, challenged now by the legal authorities in the States. You know, for me, he was collateral damage in the success of the company and the entity that he created. But my views on this are that he is genuinely now trying to protect his image by sharing his story. And his story, in my opinion, is one that we should all pay attention to and definitely have a look at. Now, let's have a look at the cryptocurrency market caps right now. The actual global cryptocurrency market cap is 4% up in the last 24 hours, which is just insane. Set at $1.54 trillion. The Fear and Greed Index is currently at 75. And let's break down some of the last movements in the last 24 hours. So Bitcoin is up 5.7%. Ethereum is up 4.2%. BNB is up 2.5%. XRP is up 3%. It just jumped significantly there. We've got some huge price movement happening live. Solana is up 0.79%. Dogecoin is up 6.35%, and we can see Chainlink there almost 1% up. Now, crypto bubbles, I love you. Today you are looking mighty fine and mighty green. I've got to say, I am opening today's computer and looking at all the charts with an air of optimism, but I do want to say I am not falling in love with the charts. As one of my good friends, Steve the Sussex Trader, says, nobody went broke taking profits, and it's very important to take your emotions out and be happy to take profits little and often to be a genuinely successful trader long term. If that's the one bit of advice you take from today's video, that means the world to me. If it's not and you go away and research, then even better. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you did enjoy this content every single day, free of charge, be sure to hit that like button, drop me a comment, and please do subscribe. And before you go, there's one last thing to say. Let's go.